There is a kind of beauty that only arrives after 60. Skin that has softened into something quieter, hair that has earned every silver strand, a way of carrying yourself that no 25-year-old could fake if she tried. And yet so many women in this exact season of life are wearing dresses that hide all of it. I need you to hear this clearly. If you have ever put on a beautiful dress, looked in the mirror and felt strangely disappointed, the dress was not the problem. It almost never is. It is the styling. I am going to walk you through 7 dress styling mistakes that quietly cheapen your look after 60. And I promise you, none of them require a new wardrobe. They require a new eye. Stay with me until the 4th one because it is the single fabric secret that decides whether a dress reads as expensive or reads as cheap. Let us begin. Mistake 1. The sack dress that erases your shape. Let us start with the mistake I see more than any other on women over 60, the sack dress. Loose, shapeless, roomy everywhere. Nothing clings, nothing pinches, and on paper it sounds like relief. Most women reach for this dress because they want comfort, they want coverage, they want to skim past the parts of the body they feel less certain about. That instinct makes complete sense. But here's what actually happens. When a dress falls straight from the shoulders with no waist, no seam, no hint of your natural shape, it does not slim you. It widens you. It flattens the very silhouette you were trying to protect. And here lies the quiet irony of mature fashion. Women hide their shape hoping to look smaller, when in truth, hiding the shape is what makes the body read as larger and heavier than it is. This does not mean every dress must be fitted. Far from it. Some of the most elegant dresses for women over 60 barely touch the body at all. Shirt dresses with a soft waist definition, A-line dresses that skim rather than cling, wrap dresses, gently tiered dresses with subtle structure. Even a relaxed linen dress can look beautifully composed as long as there is some suggestion of where your waist actually is. The goal was never tightness. The goal is definition. A soft seam in the right place. A belt worn loosely, resting rather than cinching. Anything that lets the eye understand your proportions. Because the moment a dress acknowledges your shape, even gently, the whole outfit shifts from shapeless to intentional, from dated to elevated. That is the beginning of aging gracefully with real style, not disappearing into fabric. Mistake 2. The wrong length for your height. Now, let us talk about something most women never think to check: length. A dress can have the right color, the right fabric, the right neckline, and still fall apart the moment it hits the wrong point on your leg, because the eye stops exactly where the dress ends. If that hemline lands across the widest part of your calf, your legs will read shorter and heavier, no matter how lovely the fabric above it is. This is why a dress can look stunning on the hanger and strangely disappointing in the mirror. It was never about the dress, it was about where it stopped. For most women over 60, the most flattering lengths tend to fall right at the knee, just below the knee, or at a midi length that hits the slimmest part of the calf. Those lengths create a longer, cleaner line and a far more graceful silhouette. If you are petite, this matters even more. A midi dress that runs slightly too long can overwhelm a smaller frame and shorten you visually. The answer is not to avoid midi dresses. Petite women deserve midi dresses too. The answer is finding the exact length that respects your particular proportions. Because when the hemline lands in the right place, your legs elongate, your frame balances, and the entire dress suddenly reads as considerably more refined and expensive than it did 5 minutes earlier. Mistake 3. Jersey that clings where you do not want it to. This next one catches so many elegant women off guard because jersey sounds like the perfect fabric. Soft, stretchy, forgiving, comfortable enough to feel like your favorite robe. But not all jersey behaves the same way. Thin, clingy jersey has one unfortunate habit. it reveals everything underneath it. Every curve, every line, every soft place you were hoping to skim past gently instead gets highlighted. You have likely lived this moment yourself. The dress looks wonderful standing still in front of the mirror, then you sit down or you catch your reflection from the side while walking, and suddenly the fabric is telling a very different story than you intended. Because true elegance was never about a fabric that reveals everything. It is about a fabric that skimps, that moves, that flatters without announcing every detail. That quiet discretion is exactly what separates a dress that looks expensive from one that simply looks tight. If any of this is landing for you, this would be a wonderful moment to like this video and subscribe to Style Beyond 50. Style was never meant to fade after 60. If anything, it only becomes more interesting. Now, let us keep going. Mistake 4. Ignoring fabric weight entirely. Here's the one I asked you to wait for, because it is the detail that elegant women seem to understand almost instinctively, and yet most of us were never taught to notice it at all. Fabric weight. We shop for color, we shop for print, we shop for style. Rarely do we stop to consider whether the actual weight of the fabric can hold the shape of the dress it was cut into. Here's why this matters so much. When fabric is too thin for its design, it cannot hang the way it was meant to. It clings in the wrong places, it wrinkles within the hour, it loses its shape by lunchtime. And no matter how beautiful the dress looked on the rack, the overall impression becomes flimsy. On the opposite end, fabric that is too heavy creates its own problem. It adds bulk, it sits stiffly. On a smaller or more petite frame especially, heavy fabric can overwhelm rather than flatter. The most elegant dresses find the balance in between, enough weight to drape with intention and hold their form, enough movement to flow naturally as you walk into a room. Think quality crepe, substantial cotton blends, ponte knits, soft linen blends, silk blends, a beautifully cut rayon. These fabrics move with you instead of fighting you at every step. Here's a simple test you can use in any dressing room. Hold the dress up by the shoulders and watch how it falls. Does it skim gracefully toward the floor, or does it collapse limply, cling awkwardly, or stand stiffly away from the body? Because expensive style rarely comes from the dress itself. It comes from how the fabric behaves once it is actually worn. Get the fabric right, and even the simplest silhouette can look remarkably elegant. Mistake 5. The wrong neckline for your frame. Now let us talk about a detail so many women overlook entirely: the neckline. Most of us focus on the dress as a whole and forget that the neckline sits directly beside your face. It is one of the very first things another person notices, and it carries enormous influence over how balanced, how open, and how elegant your entire look feels. The mistake is assuming every neckline flatters every woman equally. It simply does not. A high, closed crew neck can make a fuller bust appear heavier and can visually shorten the neck. On a petite frame or a shorter neck, a very high neckline can occasionally feel more severe than intended. Necklines that create gentle openness near the face, however, tend to feel lighter and more elegant. A V-neck draws the eye upward and creates length. A soft scoop neck gently softens the upper body. A relaxed boat neck can look remarkably chic on narrower shoulders. There is no single rule here. The goal is balance for your particular proportions. So here's a simple test the next time you try on a dress. Do not only look at the dress, look at your face in that mirror. Does the neckline brighten it, open it, frame it beautifully, or does something about it feel closed in or slightly heavy? Because the right neckline doesn't just flatter the fabric below it, it lifts your entire presence. And very often, that single detail is the quiet difference between a dress that looks nice and a dress that looks effortlessly elegant. Mistake 6. Shoes that break the line. Here's a mistake that can undo an otherwise beautiful outfit in a single glance: the wrong shoes. Because shoes were never simply the finishing touch. They shape the entire silhouette, from head to toe. The common error is choosing shoes that visually slice the body in half. Dark, heavy shoes beneath a soft, light dress. Thick ankle straps that draw a hard horizontal line directly across the ankle. These details seem minor, and yet they carry surprising visual weight. They interrupt the long, graceful line a well-chosen dress naturally creates. You have likely noticed this before without knowing exactly why. A lovely dress paired with bulky shoes suddenly feels a little clumsy. A graceful midi worn with heavy ankle straps can make the legs appear shorter than they actually are. The correction is refreshingly simple. Choose shoes that continue the line of the dress rather than interrupting it. Pointed toe flats, elegant slingbacks, sleek loafers, refined sandals, shoes close to your own skin tone which allow the eye to travel in one unbroken line from your hem to the floor. Even a modest low heel can shift the entire impression. The goal was never height. The goal is flow. When the eye moves smoothly from head to toe without a single interruption, everything about the outfit reads as more polished, more considered, and noticeably more refined. Mistake 7. Wearing a dress without a third piece. And finally, one of the simplest ways to elevate any dress instantly, the third piece. Have you ever put on a dress and thought, "This is nice, but something feels unfinished"? 9 times out of 10, the dress was never wrong, it simply needed one more element to complete the story. A dress worn entirely alone can occasionally feel flat, particularly when the dress itself is simple in design. The moment you add a third piece, the whole look gains depth, structure, and clear intention. A tailored blazer, a lightweight cardigan draped over the shoulders, a cropped jacket, an open linen shirt, even a chic waistcoat layered over the top. These pieces do more than add warmth. They create vertical lines that elongate your silhouette. They can soften the arms, if that is an area you would rather ease attention away from. And they instantly make the simplest dress feel deliberately styled, rather than simply put on. This does not mean every single dress requires a jacket. Some dresses are complete entirely on their own, and that confidence is beautiful too. But when an outfit feels unfinished and you cannot quite name why, the answer is often this simple. It needs a third piece, because women who dress with true elegance rarely rely on one single garment to do all the work. They understand that the difference between looking dressed and looking beautifully styled often comes down to exactly one thoughtful layer. The closing. So here they are. 7 quiet mistakes that can dim a beautiful dress after 60, and 7 simple corrections that restore it completely. Notice something important. Not one of these fixes required a new wardrobe. They required a sharper eye and a little more trust in what you already know about your own body. This is what real style after 60 has always been about. Not chasing youth, not disappearing into looser fabric and quieter colors. It is about understanding exactly what flatters you, what elevates you, and wearing every single piece of it like you already know their own worth, because you do. I would love to know, which of these 7 mistakes are you letting go of first? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one, and I love hearing which of these lands closest to home for you. If this found you at the right moment, consider staying. Like this video, subscribe to Style Beyond 50, and let this become the place you return to for fashion, for confidence, for beauty that only deepens with time. Until we meet again, stand a little taller, choose your fabric a little wiser, and remember this: style was never about age, it was always about presence, and yours at this exact stage of life has never been more powerful.